Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the North Santiam Sewer Authority Board Meeting and Sewer Project Update number 61. Woo. February 7th, 2022 at 6. It is 6:01 p.m. It's held by Zoom conference call due to COVID-19. Roll call. Janet? You there?
Who knows at this point in time? I did come in late because I was having some issues with computers. So
We're on roll call.
I know we're on roll call. So we have Brian as a committee member. Is Ron and Denny now also committee members?
Denny could be. Mayor Trett is supposed to be on here.
Okay.
Carmichael is a new member, but right now let's just do roll call.
I just wanted to know before I got started. So Ken Woodward.
Present.
Tim Kirsch.
Aye.
Ron, I see you wave. I know he's doing other things. Jeff Huey.
Present.
Jeff Smith.
Here.
I am Janet Zienhall, and then we have Mayor Trent, who is absent.
He might be on there, but they're doing two meetings at once.
Yeah, I need to listen to that other meeting when we're done here also myself. And who would be the next?
Brian Gander from Gates.
Brian, yes.
Oh, Brian, I said that and I apologize.
So we do have a
Order.
quorum.
Yep.
Any declarations of conflict of interest? Hearing none. Announcements. I do have an announcement, and I also need to make a change to the agenda. Danielle, Sarah, and myself have been meeting every other Friday. We discussed the website and the project. With no objections, I'd like to bring Sarah on here real quick. Like, she is taking some courses and she's allowed a few minutes to meet with us tonight. She wants to go over what she has been doing, and boy, it's been exciting and it looks real well. So any objections, or we change the agenda and bring Sarah on? With no objections, Sarah, it's all yours.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for shifting around the schedule to fit me in. So my name is Sarah Alvin. If I haven't met you before, I am an AmeriCorps member with the Resource Assistance for Rural Environments program, or RARE. And I've been working with Danielle and Ken over the past few months on some organizational development and informational materials for the Sewer Authority, and I just wanted to give a few updates on what I've been working on. So one of my projects is researching grants that could potentially fund the projects for the authority. So mostly federal and state grants, and I'm making a big spreadsheet with just kind of contact information and basic information about these grants. Another project is looking at best practices for organizations formed under ORS 190. So I've been looking at what other states do for these kind of intergovernmental organizations, and talking with my coworkers at the Council of Governments, because that's a similar structure. So that work is continuing. I'm also working on a project to create a short video that tells the story of how the NSSA was formed through all of these years that the project has been being formed. So I have been conducting interviews with different stakeholders and community members, and taking some footage in the canyon, and hopefully moving forward with creating that video in the next few months. And then, as Ken mentioned, I've been doing a lot of work on the website, and I If it's okay, I can share my screen and walk through a little bit of it, just so you have a sense of, if you haven't looked at it recently. Give me 1 second.
Please do.
That site looks wonderful.
It is.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, so I mean, the goal was to keep it pretty simple and make it accessible and easy to find things. And I won't go through all the pages right now, but there's a search function up here that seems to be working pretty well. This is the main homepage, and I wanted to just keep it simple to the main facts. And then down here, you can kind of navigate to the main pages that might be useful for people visiting the site. There is an About Us page now, and actually we'll be asking the leadership, the directors, to, if they're okay with it, submit pictures. So I actually have like a kind of test version of the website here to make something like this, and Ken has graciously volunteered a picture to give an idea what that would look like.
Target practice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so then I can fill that out, so that would just add a nice touch to it. Let's see. There's a page on history, which might need some editing depending on what we want this to say at this point. So there's still some work to be done. I've added the timelines, like the workflows that were created here. Under events, there's a calendar which will be updated with links and documents for each meeting. There's also, I kind of reorganized all of the past meetings and collected links for the agenda, the YouTube video, and the minutes. So that'll hopefully give it a nice organized way to access past meetings. I've uploaded some of the past plans that have gone into this project. And then another area that I know the board will be working on is updating the frequently asked questions, which currently you can kind of navigate around by clicking these buttons, but I think the text still needs some updates. So that'll be something else to work on. And then there's still a contact form. And yeah, I think that's mostly it. Does anyone have any questions about the website while I have it pulled up?
I think everybody submitting a picture would be great for the website.
Yeah.
So just to recap, we have to update the history, the frequently asked questions, and potentially board photos.
Yes.
And then the calendar, I've got to figure that out. It's given us trouble, so we're trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I'll say for now, if you're having trouble finding the link or anything, I'll just be putting it here for the time being until we can get the calendar linked back up again.
What about the logos?
And then, yes, I can also share the
Oh yeah, I'm excited about that. You already know.
So I think Ken already sent out this file, so you've probably already seen it, but these are some logo drafts that I've been working on. And so I've included the main color version, the black and white version in case something needs to be printed in black and white, just to make sure that it also looks okay that way. And then a kind of thumbnail sketch of what it would look like on the homepage of the website, though this could also be tweaked if we want to change the layout. But these are the 4 main mock-ups that I've ended up on. And again, if you missed the last meeting where I introduced it, the idea is to include some kind of representation of the North Santiam River, since that's so central to this project. And then the 4 trees are meant to represent the 4 communities that are part of the sewer authority. And then these ones that are split up into 2 was an idea brought up during the last meeting, and that's to represent the 2 projects, Project A and Project B. So I think board can vote on this later in the meeting, but for now, does anyone have any questions about this?
Looks good.
Great work. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, yeah.
So we said that we could actually vote on this later.
Yes.
Sarah, if we have a few minutes, I want to just kind of get some feedback from everybody. And then on the website as well, I think that's kind of important because we've been meeting every other week to make sure it's right. And I see that is there a hand up here? Or anybody have a hand up? No.
Ryan does.
Brian has his hand
There
up.
we go. I couldn't see it. Thank you. There you go. It's on his background. I couldn't see you. Sorry, Brian.
My apologies. I was just wondering the file format that Sarah would like the picture sent in. PNG, JPEG, what's the
I think
protocol?
anything is fine as long as it's good. It's pretty good resolution, but it'll be fairly small on the website, so I don't think it's too big of a deal.
Well, Sarah, you've done great. Great job.
I heard from one of our seniors here in Mill City, and she found the website, the changes, a couple weeks ago, actually really easy to navigate. Information is readily available. She was pretty, I won't say pleased, but she was really happy that she could find what she wanted on it. Quit it, Tim. I know you know who it is.
I'm assuming that's the one that I responded to, just kind of let her know.
Probably.
Now we have pictures.
AC.
Excuse me. We have pictures of Detroit. We have pictures of Mill City. Do we have anything of Gates? Can we get a hold of some pictures of Gates? Something.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I actually have some really good pictures of gates from underneath the bridge.
Okay.
Just really, really pretty ones that we could use. So Sarah, I'll get those to you as well. Thank you for reminding me, Ken.
And what about Idana?
Idana, I actually have pictures of their city hall when the flowers are all out.
Okay.
And also their little store there when they were fully in bloom.
Good, good, good. We need one for, every community. the
I
four
also have
communities.
porta potty pictures like crazy, but
I know, come on.
that's just because I'm a fun girl though.
Put that on the back page.
So
Anything
one other
else?
thing, one other comment I just thought of is I'm also working on making it better for when you access the website on your mobile phone. So hopefully that will be helpful too, because I know a lot of people will be looking at it that way as well.
Yeah, it's all blown up on the cell phone.
I worked on it today, so it should be better, but still a work in progress.
Good.
So Arthur asked a question. Did I hear correctly that North Santiam Sewer Authority is organized under an ORS 190? That is correct. So when we were looking at initially, just Arthur, for you to know, when we were initially looking at an ORS 450 or ORS 190, I went ahead and contacted everybody that I know. I'm like, okay, is a ORS 190 going to allow for us to borrow funds? And so that was a big question that we tried to resolve. And I have some notes of who's resolved those pieces for us.
Anything else for Sarah? She needs to get going for her classes. Thanks, Sarah.
Sorry about that, Sarah. Wish you could stay.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Sarah.
Bye.
I'd just like everybody to go around, introduce themselves. We didn't do it last time. Just go around, introduce. My name's Ken Woodward. I'm the chairperson, Detroit, Oregon. I represent City of Detroit.
I'm Tim Kirsch, Vice Chair, represent the City of Mill City. Oh, by the way, I'm Mayor of the City of Mill City too.
I'm Brian Gander. I'm representing the City of Gates. I'm the acting treasurer and I'm the sanitation commissioner on the city council.
He's the acting treasurer for the NSSA. Thank you.
I'm Ron Carmichael. I'm mayor of Gates, and we're right in the middle of the hearing here. We're going to be coming up soon. So anyway, hey, hi everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, Ken.
Jeff Smith, Idana. That's it.
Jeff Joey, Idan, Water Commissioner and City Council.
I'm Janet Zienhall. I'm a counselor for Mill City.
Danielle Gonzalez, Marion County Economic Development.
Mary?
Mary Camerata, I'm with the Department of Environmental Quality, and I'm on the Regional Solutions team, and Jody sends her regards. She's actually attending that wildfire meeting. So Arthur and I will pass on any information to her at the close of this meeting.
Thank you.
Arthur, like Mary, I'm with the state. I'm at Business Oregon, the Economic Development Agency, and we do some infrastructure funding. And I'm here to listen and learn and keep my eyes open for opportunities for you. So thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it looks like we have some guests. There's Keith. I see Keith. Mhm.
Keith Bedell, Oregon Association of Water Utilities. I'm just observing.
Thank you for
Keith.
being here. Denny?
Denny Nielsen, I'm the newest member of the council in Detroit, and this is my first meeting. And by the way, I couldn't figure out how to unmute my screen when Sarah was there. I'd just like to say that I found the website for one who was trying to build my own database, very well organized, very intuitive, and absolutely full of resources for someone like myself who was totally unfamiliar with the project and looking to become more informed. So thank you.
We will let her know, what, Thursday? We're
Yeah.
gonna move the meeting up to Thursday.
Yep.
Thank you, Denny. I think she did a great job.
And it looks like we have two other guests on the phone, and I'm sorry, or one other guest on the, two other guests on the phone. I have a 4462 and a 7091.
Hello, guest.
It's okay. If you don't want to introduce yourself, that is okay. If you want to type it into the chat, we are happy to have that as well. If you're just on the phone, that is okay. Unmute yourself whenever you're ready. And if you want to let us know who you are, we will put it in there.
All right, moving forward, public comment and questions. Please limit public comments to 3 minutes each. Any public comments? All right. Action, review and approval of meeting summary notes for November 1st, 2021. We have a motion.
I sent out the minutes, or excuse me, the summary notes. It actually had my notes of the notes, just so you know, in those. Mr. Chair, it is up to you guys if you want to accept them as with my notes of notes, or if I can take another crack at it. We've had, unfortunately, a couple of people out sick, and so it's been a little bit slower of a response this month.
It's up to the board.
I read the notes and they looked fine to me, and I think they reflected the meeting well.
I agree.
You
So I'll
want to make
move to approve.
I'll second the motion of approval.
Brian second?
Yes.
Any discussion? Tim made a motion to approve, Brian second. Janet?
Roll call vote. Ken,
Approve. Yes.
Brian Gander,
Aye.
Tim Kirsch,
Aye.
Ron Carmichael. You want to wave if you approve? He's no longer listening to us. Jeff Smith.
Aye.
Jeff Huey,
Abstain.
Is
and Jeff Huey abstained.
That's correct. I was absent from the November meeting.
And
And I don't believe Ron Carmichael was at the meeting either.
No, he wasn't.
Okay, so voting yes is Ken, Brian, Jeff Smith. Tim, did I call you?
Yes, and I said yes.
Okay, I thought so. I just missed writing you down. And myself, I'll vote yes.
So 5.
Yes. Jeff Huey abstaining.
That is still a majority because we don't have full seating. We have only a 7 seating right now and not an 8 seating.
So it still passes.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
And earlier today, our board member, Brian Gander, updated about the treasury report. There's no changes. We've talked about the fact that there's no changes. And so we don't need to make any actions on that.
Good with you, Brian?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. No changes. All right. Well, Sarah's already been here.
If I could just reiterate a couple of pieces on that.
Mhm.
So Sarah is working on a video. She didn't talk about it in depth, but I just kind of wanted to wrap some of that conversation together. One of the things that we realized is that the historical pieces of the project and how it's kind of come to fruition and all of that was missing. When we've made presentations at different places, it's been a lot of Danielle talking, and we want to make sure that that's consistent throughout. And then hopefully moving forward, then other people can be making those presentations as well. And so Sarah's been putting together a video of people that have been involved with the project, or either business owners or local leaders. And so we've kind of sent her forward with a list of people to get video from. And it's kind of a targeted list to make sure that we're spreading it out. So we are getting people from all 4 of the cities. So that's been something that's been really, really important to us. She's already kind of started going through, I believe, Ken, as of last time we met, she had already, I think, had 4 interviews that she had already done.
Yes, I think.
At the time. And so we've been kind of pushing her through the list to try to make, you know, something like a 30-second snippet and then maybe like a 3-minute video. So nothing too long, but just kind of get some help. So when we're doing presentations, it'll make it much easier. So that is one piece of her project. And because she's with the AmeriCorps Rare program, yeah, the whole purpose of this is for emerging professionals to be able to showcase what they've done. And so when, of course, she leaves, she'll have the website done, she'll have the video done, she'll have the logo done. She's working on things like, once the logo's done, getting all of our letterheads set up, all of those kind of things, so we can formalize the organization. And so she'll have all of those as kind of her portfolio. So I appreciate everybody's patience as we're kind of walking through those pieces. On the website, again, we talked about the fact that the history piece, Ken and I are taking a crack at the history piece. The photos of the board members, if everybody is okay with that. I'm not seeing anybody upset about that. And then the frequently asked questions. This is something that we haven't touched, these frequently asked questions, in quite a while. And it's time for us to get those updated. We need to know what questions you're getting in the community, so we can best update our frequently asked questions. So I'm looking to you, Tim and Janet, to kind of get us started off on what you're hearing from your communities, because it might be distinctly different than some of the other ones.
So you want me to speak about it right now? Mostly people are curious about when it's going to happen, because we have a number of potential projects coming into town, and we're talking fairly significant development projects, and our sewer capacity is basically at the limit. So we're looking for short-term solutions right now just within the city, but people are wanting to know how long it's going to take, obviously, because these projects are pretty important for everything from wildfire recovery to just moderate income kind of housing and stuff. The mills are screaming for employees and stuff, and we just don't have the population base right now for their needs alone. So let alone everybody else and all the commuters. So we need sewer system and we need capacity yesterday. And that's what I'm hearing from developers as well as private citizens as well.
But the only other thing that I am hearing is what happens if this doesn't happen? Where does that leave our current system, its capacity, ability to expand because of the developments? But that's a big worry that I hear is what if it doesn't come through? Where does that leave Mill City for the future?
Gotcha. So I'm gonna at least try to help with that piece. So the Mill City and Gates project is 90% paid for. So we feel confident that so you met Brian Nicholas, he's our Public Works Director. He's actually responsible along with our team to deliver the Mill City and Gates project to fruition. Now, the question is that timing. I think that goes back to what Tim is concerned with too. So the confidence level on the Gates Mill City project is really, really high. The question is that how long is that going to be? And is it going to be fast enough to be able to help with the housing issues? So that is something that is still on being worked out. So if that helps Janet, at least a little bit.
Perfect.
Yeah. The conversation we've talked about how we potentially could be about $5 million short. The county believes that they've got some flexibility, and then also they could potentially save some money. Peter with Keller Associates did a really good job because he put a lot of contingency in his budget, and that's actually helping to offset the concern that we had before. So I want to say he put like a pretty big cushion. So that's why I think we'll fall on the right side of that work.
And since you said that, the other question I'm getting is what is it going to do to our sewer rates?
Okay.
That's a normal one.
Yep. And that was, I think, continued on our previous one. We're going to update. We'll have to update that. Just talking about the median household income. Okay. Gates, what are you guys hearing? Brian, I know you're kind of new to this, but.
No, I think it's been a consistent kind of question as to, the number of vacant lots, and do I put in, do I build now and put in a brand new system? And then what's going to happen if I invest a bunch of money into a brand new system? The city is looking at, how do we adjust lot sizes if people don't need a septic field in their lot? Can we allow people to split some of their lots and create, more housing opportunities for some of the landowners, because there's some pretty good lots sizes in the city. And also the question about rates, what if I don't join, and the city needs to be able to, effectively write ordinance to manage that. So our community members are kind of certain, many are who are still there are on fixed incomes, and we really can't generate business if we don't have a sewer system. So we have a limited amount of business opportunities to recruit to without an effective sewer.
Now, Mary, are you at a point where you could talk a little bit about what DEQ is looking at doing with the grants?
What I mean, what I was thinking with Brian, I was going to say, I think you should advise people to basically put a septic system in, because it could be up to 4 or 5 years out.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I know that that's hard and it feels like they have to do double, but I just think if they're coming back sooner than that, then they're going to have to look at a septic system. The other thing is when you said that maybe not everybody hooks up to the sewer system, that's problematic on so many levels, just because of your cash flow, having mixed systems. You could talk to Falls City where, you know, half the city's unsewered, others is sewered and just limping along, and it's not real good for the groundwater if you get too much density. So is where the city can have those conversations. I really, really encourage you to have an ordinance that says you will be hooking up when the sewer system becomes available. Otherwise, it's really gonna mess up the city and your
Yeah.
ability to do things.
And it
So,
messes up the financial pieces too, the calculations that we did early on, and the finances are even a little bit more complicated because now we don't know where people are and when they're going to come back, right? So I will tell you, so DEQ has put out, and Mary, please catch me if I'm saying anything wrong here.
oh, you want the 15 million? Okay, I was wondering about the grants. So right
Yeah.
now, I was gonna be like, huh? So right now, so DEQ through the legislature's got $15 million and it's ARPA funds. So, you know, that means there's some restrictions and we don't have the money now. We do not have it. We're waiting for DAS to hand it out. Well, that's hard because it's like people want to get the money and we don't.
Same as us, yeah. We haven't gotten
Yes,
ours yet.
easy guys, yeah, we don't have the check. So right now what we're doing is we're doing information requests, trying to figure out who's going to be our partner that then a community member could then ask them and like, hey, I want the money. I'm low income. Here's my address, you know, and they get an estimate, and then, you know, then they can be awarded the money. It'll go to the provider, not to the homeowner, because that's just cleaner to do it that way. But we don't know who's going to be our financial agents. It could be the COG. It could be we partner with the city. It could be another entity that serves the whole state. So we don't know that piece yet, but as soon as we do and we get the program up and running, we'll let you know. But I think realistically, money should be flowing out the door, probably August, September, by the time you get the entities, get the contracts written. And certainly, you know, people in the canyons can qualify. We're not limiting to where it goes. There's been a lot of energy, like should always go to the wildfires. That's not something that DEQ is judging. It just, you know, is for statewide, you know, monies. And so, but, you know, if we are told that no, focus on the wildfire first, you know, obviously that's what we'll do if the legislator directs us to do that. But right now we're looking at the whole state to be able to provide that. 15 million is roughly about 500 to 600 homes. It could be businesses too, by the way. It doesn't have to be homes only. So that's how many we can do per state. And we have a lot, you know, there's a lot more need than that and around the state. And this is for repairs and replacements. It's not brand new systems. The money can't, again, that's what we got from the legislator. So it's not new systems, but repairs and you know, fixes up related to that. And we don't know yet, but we'd like to have at least 1 to 2 years of paying for, if you have to have an advanced system, that this money covers that the first 1 or 2 years of that, because again, it's an expense that people, you know, who've never had advanced systems need to have an inspector come up and fix the system. So again, those are some of the things we're looking at, but we won't hide the ball. We will definitely tell everybody, and then you can let your people know in your communities, like, hey, go there. There's where the money's at, and get some. So.
And I can add just a piece to that. Thank you, Mary, for doing that. I know that Marion County has been said that they would like to offer to partner, and the COG is also willing. And so we're trying to work together to try to figure out how that's going to be managed. So there's like a series of questions that they need to kind of ask to be able to be successful before you even start putting together who would qualify. One of the things that I've put out on both for whoever does look at it is, you know, there would likely have to be a requirement for anybody that accepts the funds. If it was run by the county, any property that receives the funds would be required to hook up to any future system. But then there's things like, when you're developing a program, you have to ask yourself a lot of questions. You have to ask yourself things on, like, are there income driven qualifications, or if it's for property owners that were there, potentially a year ago or 2 years ago. If it's a cost sharing or the full cost. So there's a lot of questions that have to be answered, but we are starting to kind of walk through those methodically. So I just wanted to at least let you know that is on the table that we're working through as well. I agree with Mary on the timeline. That's what it sounds like from internally as well. The fall is probably the earliest.
Yeah.
So in short, I think probably for our frequently asked questions, we say, if you're expecting to have anything in Mill City or Gates in the 5 years, you're going to have to just put in a septic system if that's the case.
So, yeah, and then you don't want to have super small lots. So I know Carmichael was saying that they're trying to make flexibility where somebody could have a bigger lot, and then when the sewer comes in, they could make it smaller so they could have more density. But, think about, it's about a half acre usually for an on-site system, unless you're going to put some advanced treatment on it. So, that's kind of what you're looking at for systems, just a ballpark. Okay?
And the advanced treatment systems require like annual servicing contracts, which are running $500 to $800 a year.
Yeah, and that's why we're thinking if we could pick that up. And then
My advanced servicing agreement is $200 a year.
Oh,
for an ultraviolet system.
Right.
That's great.
And then, and then we're looking at probably 80 to 120% of the medium income household is what, we want to go a little bit higher than other people, because you're still pretty low income, even at 120%. So, but that's subject, again, these are just what we're thinking about right now. We'll get figured out a little bit later.
Okay.
And then Mill City, we just got a proposal from Keller to add more capacity, and DEQ will be evaluating that proposal and giving feedback to the city, where, again, we're trying to figure out how to get a little bit more capacity while we're waiting for the bigger system to come in. So more on that later.
Thank you. That's very, very helpful. To get back to our questions, frequently asked questions, I think that we answered that one. Detroit, what kind of questions? So Denny, you're kind of new to the big business game here. So then the question is, are you hearing things too? And Ken, I'll go to you after.
Well, the questions that I'm hearing, or the comments that are being made, have to do with the protracted time frame to have something to even really think seriously about. When I first came on council, I heard comments, for example, that Mill City was pretty much finished with its planning, and it looked like that could be a 2 to 3 year process to have their system expanded and in place. And now I'm hearing 4+ years. So if you're talking about 4+ years in Mill City, what in the world are we talking about for Detroit? I think having an adequate sewage treatment system in Detroit is going to be pivotal to regrowing the town in general, and specifically the business community. So the other thing I might add is that I have some friends in Mill City who may live on the margin or perhaps just outside the city limits on a road that runs parallel on the Lynn County side. And they're wondering if, they have functional septic system, are they going to be required to implement the connection to a city or municipal system when they have a functional septic system? And I have, of course, I have no idea. You guys have been discussing it, but I haven't heard whether or not that's in the city limits or some distance beyond the city limit, depending upon, what that distance is.
So I can make that easy for you. The jurisdiction for the North Santiam Sewer Authority is only the city limits of all 4 of the cities.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'd probably like to also add, if they're not on the system now, then chances are they're not in the city limits. there's.
Thank you. That's a great piece of information. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
And Ken, what other questions or concerns are you getting?
Well, they're concerned when. We know it's not going to be 5 years in Detroit. We got some tough hurdles. It's different up there. We have to look at a site. We have 1 year of testing, just to let Denny know, up there on McCoy Creek. So we're a year out there. and then-
McCoy Creek Road. I want to make sure everybody knows that we're not going into a creek, okay?
Yeah,
McCoy Creek Road.
Yeah, don't, Mary's probably going, huh? That's new.
Come on, Ken.
This is the quarry site, right?
So
It's-
Ken, this is Denny again. Why does it take a year if you have a potential site on McCoy Creek Road to get an answer about that?
So
You want me to handle it?
Well, let me try to make it a little bit easy, because I think Mary's beat this into me, so I'm appreciating that right now. So in short, we need a full year's worth of water testing for the identified site to make sure that the water is flowing where we think it's going to
That's
flow,
right.
and it's filtering the way we think it's going to filter. The reason that Detroit and Idana is that much more complicated is because there has not been any suitable areas that are within the local jurisdictions. And so we're having to now work through the Forest Service for a property that they have and they own. And we would have to go through the entire Forest Service acquisition process. And that's the reason why it takes a little bit longer there.
Well stated. Thank you.
Yep.
In the beginning, Denny, we had all these parcels of land that were privately owned. It was real promising, but it's too close to the river.
Yeah.
And
It
if there
flows
was-
too fast to the river.
Yeah, so if anything was to happen, we'd be in trouble. So we need to
So-
move. Go ahead.
Okay, so realistically then, if it's going to take a year and let's say the McCoy Creek site doesn't bear any fruit, what then? I mean, what would be a reasonable expectation in terms of a window of time to?
So Danny, you might have to, so if it doesn't play out, then you would have to look at other options, either different kind of treatment, maybe look at land application in the summer. I mean, so holdings, you just have to go through another design, trying to figure out what could work. So yeah, it could add another 6 months to a year, trying to come up for another solution. But what we don't want to have happen is that you build it and then DEQ can't permit it. That's why we're hesitant to say 100%, because we want to make sure the amount of water you're going to infiltrate after it's treated, treated to a pretty high level, but still that's a lot of water that's going to come into the system, and it cannot basically get into the Santiam River because of the protection we have.
Oh, I understand. And I'm an advocate for making sure that river runs pure.
Sure.
But on the other hand, people want to have a realistic expectation. So what's the best and the worst case scenario to have something working for Detroit and Idana?
7 years.
Okay.
I would go back to whatever that Keller report said and look to see what their timeline is. I think that they did a good job in laying the timeline out. It's actually on the website as well. A little hard to see, so you might have to make it large, but it is on there. So Denny, go back to your question. The engineer felt decent about the possibilities for the site. It's actually outside of Idana. It's a mile or so outside of it. Not even maybe a mile. Can help me out on that, but just outside of it. Yeah, it's a ways outside of Idana, but there's volcanic, my understanding is that there's volcanic material on either side. And so it creates kind of like a water slide that would give us approximately a half a mile from where the disposal site would be to the river. So it would just give us a little bit more space from the river. And so, we've been working with DEQ to try to make sure, give us some like red flags. If there's red flags, let's look at that now. So if that helps, we're trying to mitigate all of those. There were 2 other potential opportunities. They were very much less favorable, at least in certainly in my eyes. One of them was like shipping everything down via pipe. I can't recommend that at all. Just because there's too many other hazards, that makes no sense whatsoever.
Too expensive.
It's too expensive and too many hazards that you can't mitigate. So if that helps.
We just need to also look at what can the fire department do with the treated. I mean, we're going to treat it to the highest quality. What can they do with it? Can the Forest Service use it? Looking at all that stuff. Can you go out and water all the trees? No, you probably create root rot. So you just got to be careful. Can we make snow out of it?
I'm still liking that one.
Well,
like
like
a
it.
year-round snow park. I am kind of in on this one.
But where I got that idea is because right behind the proposed possibility facility site is a nice canyon. And why not have a snow park if that's possible? Is it expensive? Yes.
Not as long as it's not brown.
No, this is.
I was thinking yellow snow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you guys don't have any faith. The type that we're looking up in Detroit and Idana is a much higher quality wise, guys.
It is high quality. Yeah, you can make beer out of it.
We're talking about Class A. We're talking about Class A drink, Class A water, not potable, but close to potable.
And you can make, you can make beer out of it. So
there's some other processes you would have to take. Just don't.
Yeah. Well, I know but we're being creative. We're trying to think while the year's testing's going on. We're trying to figure out what we can do with it. And what, can the fire department take the hose, hook up to a big tank and aim it at the river? No, I don't think so.
And remember,
No.
we're also going to need some time because we've got to get through a couple of legislative sessions to make sure we can get the funding for it as well. Because this is also a heavy lift, right? We're talking a $61 million for the Detroit Idana. It's the reason we did a lot of work up front. It took us quite a while is because of the fact that we were trying to put together the economic narrative on why it's valuable enough to spend that much money on relatively a small population, right? I mean, if you look at it from a small population, but when you look at the value of the water in the North Santiam River, when we utilized Eco Northwest and they helped us to identify the value of that water, and they put that value of $170 million a year. And so now the investment doesn't seem so crazy when you're protecting a water source that has an economic value of $170 million a year.
174.
174. Thank you.
The other thing I would say to this group is to think about, because people aren't back in the canyon, you're still going to need support even after it's built.
Yep.
Kind of like how they're helping out Gates now with water, that there's help for keep their water system going. You think about that as well, that there needs to be some kind of ongoing support to offset so that your rates will be manageable for your residents. Otherwise, it's going to get so high that it's just going to be very difficult. So keep that in mind, that how can we come up with the finances that would allow seed money to keep happening until you can get on your feet.
Brian has his hand up.
That comes to another question that I've heard from people is, if the line is going down in Lynn County, down the backside, past the airport, so to speak, and if you know that road towards Mill City, why would we not expect residents along that area that are, actually filtering water towards the river as well?
Brian,
to connect.
Yeah, there's rules about servicing cities versus in between. And if there's a health issue or something else that will allow those connections, but it's not automatic. So it's a good question. But the way the planning laws are set up is we service the cities, not in between, unless there's it's called a goal 11 exception.
Well, we are talking about a fact sheet, right? So
Yeah.
that should be in the fact sheet because
And
that's what people will be asking, well, why isn't my neighbor who's 150 feet from me, but outside the city limits?
that's really,
It's $174 million resource. Why aren't they asked to protect it as well?
Tim might be able to answer that.
well, actually, I'm going to say one thing, Brian, some of the new pieces that we're looking at is potentially utilizing, there's a right of way that Marion County already has on the Marion County side. It is also where we would like to actually, the county is interested in putting,
Like that.
thank you, pathways through there. You could potentially put the broadband lines there as well, because I know Gates and Mill City are still a little bit lacking on that piece. And we could put the lines, the sewer lines through there. And because it's already now kind of open and clear, the county is now looking at, once they are going back for the engineering pieces for this next piece, to look at not the Lynn County side, but the Marion County side, it would actually save quite a bit of roadway as well.
Well, there's people on that side of the river as well. So, I mean, if we're developing a fact sheet that's
Yep.
comprehensive, then we should answer those questions.
I appreciate it. I
because-
did add it in there. Thank you. That's a good point.
Did we leave anything out, Tim?
I don't know for specifics to be absolutely sure, but the system, the line between Gates and Mill City will be pressurized. And if it's my assumption that everything goes to like a pump station and then goes to the pressurized line. So individual households won't be able to connect into that pressurized line. They would have to go to a pump station first. So we'd be talking about building a lot of extra infrastructure to bring on spaces. So Gates's plant or Gates's effluent will flow directly to the treatment plant and stuff. It won't be picking up individual households along the way, is what my understanding is.
But
Yeah, I think it's helpful though for us to keep that language very, very simple. And
Right.
if you're outside of the city limits, we unfortunately, we don't have jurisdiction.
But what I was trying to refer to was run the line on the Marion County side instead of Lynn County, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but Dr. Gander was referring to there's places there along the highway stuff that still
Yes.
are not in either city limits that they probably wouldn't be expected to join in either.
Well, my understanding too is that there's a pretty significant slide area just on the east side of Mill City that would be a significant barrier to putting a line around on that side of the river. I suppose you could construct it somehow, but it's not without its costs.
Well, in that slide area, there is actually a water line that goes out to some of those residences
Mhm.
along the highway there. And it's been there for years, as well as the railroad bed has been there for years. So I think down at that level where that railroad bed is, it's a little more stable. It's up there along the highway that it sloughs off down to the railroad grade. But I'm not an engineer.
Right. Well, it's
That's
a
why
little
we pay
different.
them the big bucks.
It's a little different if a treated water line breaks as opposed to a sewer line break.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Also true.
Yeah.
Well, good. Make sure we get to Idana too. I want to hear
Okay.
from Jeff and Jeff.
Mostly, this is Jeff Yoy. Mostly the question I hear is the initial cost to the end user. That seems to be a big thing. And of course, the monthly cost.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. I got that. Jeff Smith, anything for you?
Oh, Jeff Yohe pretty much covered what I was gonna say, but thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think we've got a good list.
Yeah,
We'll go back to the drawing board and hopefully bring you guys some responses next month. And then we're going to want to make sure we check it to make sure it makes sense and that they're clear and concise and honest. I've always said that no matter what happens, we are going to be honest about what we know and what we don't know. We're going to be honest about where and what timing that we think we can get it done. And be, genuine to the purpose that we're moving forward. So I appreciate you guys taking the time today on that one.
thank you.
I missed part of the stuff there, but I do have a question that kind of pertains to some of the stuff Denny was saying and everything else. And I think, Ken, you checked on this before, but it's been June to Christmas almost a couple of years ago now, with the Omni processors, Cedro Woolsey and their processors. Maybe Mary might know something about it, or have we looked into those again? See if that technology has improved since a couple of years ago.
The board has voted on a gravity system.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the direction we're going.
Yeah.
Gravity.
Well, the reason I ask, because there's so many problems going on up in Detroit, like you said, with the land and the just everything with the Detroit area. I know that it may not be so practical in Gates now, but I'm just, it's the new technology that's coming, and so that's just me.
Understand. No, thank you. No, appreciate it.
And some of those decisions, there was some financial decisions that were also in there as well, right? With staffing as it is and making sure that we have the decision point on the septic versus sewer. The sewer, when we were looking at the numbers deeply over the long term, it was actually a better fit. So we wouldn't have as much staffing costs over the long period.
And we also looked at construction cost, and we looked at everything.
Power consumption up
Oh,
in
it
Detroit,
goes on,
and
and
the
goes on
stability.
and on and on. If we lose power, we're in trouble. Everything's in trouble.
That's what Tim said, right? You were out there doing septic tank plugins.
Yeah, but I understand. I understand that, but what I'm saying is that the stuff that you're looking at is current technology, and what I'm talking about is future technology, which is considerably different and stuff. So, but I don't. It's probably not even. It's not. Last I checked, it wasn't even available for in the States yet at this point. So I don't know.
And Ron, we tend to be conservative. This is DQ when it comes to treatment, because, the planning horizons, for a system's 20 years. And so we are careful with, when you think about the investment here, right? 50 million, 61 million. So you definitely want to make sure that the technology that's selected is going to work. And, you can do replacements and things like that. And so even though I do think we're going to come up with other technologies that maybe we wouldn't have a big wastewater treatment plant. We're just not there. The people sometimes want to think about filtering, but, the filter waste really becomes problematic when you scale it up. And so, again, I do think it'll come, but I can't predict if that's 10 years or 15 years when, you already have this system up and running. But I do think if somebody comes up with something, certainly tell us. But right now
they have.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying the Omni processors, and I've seen them at work myself. Tillamook has an Omni processor up there that they use right now, but it's not for public water or waste or anything else. It's for processing that they do up there. But it's an extremely interesting technology that I'm hoping that we see more of in the future. But the other issue is, just like you said, where does the waste from it go to, and how do they process that? Yeah. Right now, it's just fertilizer, And we're in the Willamette Valley, we can use a lot of fertilizer.
Yeah, except for the getting it to the locations is what the expensive part is, right? Is that, you can always process things, but if you have to take it 50 miles or more, then it's problematic. There's agronomic rates that you can actually distribute the wastewater at different classification levels. And we're just a little bit far away. We tried even convincing the Forest Service, and that was a no-go. We tried.
Oh, no, there's a lot of hurdles to jump through.
Yeah, we even discussed making fertilizer also, and we were informed that's really expensive.
Yeah.
Really?
So, like Mary says, got to keep the cost down low, conservative.
I think the question is a good question, given the fact that in Detroit and Idana, we have a best case scenario of 7 years. And in the past 40 or 50 years that I've been involved in technology, the evolution that is ongoing is going more rapidly than it ever has. And I think the important thing to not answer the gentleman's question, but to simply say, we're going to keep track of what's developing in the various fields, and to make sure that we don't miss an opportunity that might be financially viable and very effective for an area where you have a marginal waste area. So
100%. We just also have to get it permitted. So
yeah, and we haven't closed the doors on any idea whatsoever.
Yeah,
we always keep them open.
Okay.
The other thing I would say is the Santiam, not Santiam, the McKinsey, their FEMA EPA project is to look at, I'm going to call them low impact systems. So that report should come out, just they're looking at like Blue River, but that report should be coming out like August and September. Obviously it's paid for by the federal government, so we're going to share it with everybody. If there's something in there that's like, hey, here's some low flow, low cost thing, maybe in between. So that paper will be coming out, like I said, in August and September when they finish that up for McKinsey.
Cool. That would be good to hear.
Yes. Thank you for asking these all great questions. These are definitely a nice refresh.
Yes.
So
yeah,
thank you.
I'm not looking to stir anything up. I'm just asking.
No,
It's a good refresh. Yeah. Yep. So Mr. Chair, can we go move on to letter G?
Hold it. Like to, if we can, touch on the logo.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, not a problem. Has everybody had a chance to look at it?
I have.
Okay, I should say, has anyone not been able to look at it?
Yeah, I actually haven't been able to see it yet. It's Jeff Joey.
Yeah, Jeff.
Jeff, how do you want me to get that to you?
I sent it to City Hall.
I did not get it, so I will ask about that.
Okay.
If you emailed, it's probably still on the way.
Wait, I got broadband up there now.
Yeah, it's there quick.
So I'm unlike Mill City. They have broadband fiber. You're welcome.
Ouch.
It's okay. I'm still working on you guys.
All right, I just want to see what everybody thinks. I'm gonna start it. I like, no pun intended. Yeah, really. I like number 2, the first one on number 2. It resembles the canyon wall. I'm gonna put my name down for that one. What does everybody else think? I'm gonna put a mark by number 2.
You can put my name next to that one as well. I like it too. As well.
Number 4 was my number 1 and number 2 was my number 2.
Hey.
Number 3 was my number 1. But persuade me.
Yeah.
Did you
They
have
were
a
all
number?
very, very good. I
Have a
like
number
all of them actually.
Yeah, they are all very good.
Jeff Smith was number 1. I know that.
2, Danielle.
Jeff Smith. Okay, he told me by via text that he liked number 1. So 2 for number 2. Number 1, Jeff Yohe, you haven't seen it yet.
Ron,
All
have
right,
you been able
we
to-
don't need,
Hold on, hold on. Ron, have you seen it yet? The logos?
Did he freeze?
no, Ron's there. I think he's looking for it. I think he's looking for it right now.
Yeah, I'm looking for it right now. I seen them, but I don't.
Why doesn't everybody just take the next few days?
Oh,
until the
hold
next
on.
meeting?
Let me pop it up real quick. Let me see if I can just pop it up here. I don't know what I was thinking. I could do that. I just have 50,000 things on my,
Just 50,001.
I thought 2 screens would help that, Danielle, but let me tell you, 2 screens make all those 50,000 open tabs harder to find.
I have 3 screens, so yes.
Oh my God.
Okay,
You
is
don't want
that
to do
something,
that.
can you guys see this?
Yes.
I know Jeff, you,
No, go back.
it has to go back. Okay, hold on.
Yep, you're someplace else.
I've got things I got going on here.
Close it out.
Hold on. Let me try it one more time.
We're looking at a cool spreadsheet though.
Yeah,
Busted.
yeah, no kidding. Get out, you got you.
I got a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, you got everything on there. Why don't we just let everybody look at it until the next meeting and see what they think?
Yeah, I like number 1.
Ron's for number 1, that's 2.
So between 1 and 2 is what it looks like. I don't know what I've done here. Stop share. There we go. Sorry, guys.
Well, we don't have to vote on it tonight. We just, everybody take a look at it.
Well, maybe a suggestion is since since number 1 and number 2 have the most votes, maybe we hold those 2 over and make that a little bit simpler next time. Is that okay?
Yeah, it's okay with me. Anybody else?
And then Jeff will get you the whole thing somehow to make sure you have that, okay?
Okay, thanks. If I happen to drop out here, it's because my dying, so.
Yep. No problem. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Moving on to G, future staffing of the NSSA.
So starting to build out the budget and the future staffing for the sewer authority. Obviously, I'm not gonna be able to staff forever because Marion County is gonna want to steal me back for other projects, I'm assuming. So future staffing, we need to look at for the sewer authority, whether you guys want to hire someone yourselves, or do you want to contract potentially with the COG, or potentially hire maybe Mill City. I didn't ask this up front. Sorry, Tim. I didn't mean to scare you on this. But there's a couple of different options, and I have to write the kind of job descriptions based on where you guys want to go. So thoughts on whether or not we contract that out, or if you guys want to hire someone directly. It would likely be a part-time person just because of the amount of work right now. So just want to get some thoughts on that.
I'll pop up before Tim does. We would definitely have to bring on staff to handle that within Mill City. Am I correct, Tim?
Absolutely.
Okay. So then I'll take that off of the list because we're wanting to try to find some place where there's some financial efficiencies, right? So if we have to hire on new staff, then that would be just the same as the sewer authority hiring staff.
we might be able to help out as far as office space or something like that, obviously, but we would, yeah.
Agreed.
We're pretty booked as it is.
Well, you got a lot of things,
Lots going on.
lots going on in Mill City. That's correct.
So Danielle, do you think a rare student, you know, if you had one every year, could help if it's a half-time situation? Do you think that there would be enough work for them to kind of just, again, just, you know, because that's a fixed cost and we know what that is.
Yeah, so a rare member, so I've had two in this last couple of years. I don't know if you know that. So I've been doing broadband with Rare for the last 2 years. And it takes a lot of time to actually manage the Rare and to set up the, like you're doing, of course, all of your monthly reports, you're doing all of those pieces, you're approving their agreements. I'm actually meeting with my Rare every single day. Just because our broadband stuff is changing a lot, but then I'm also meeting with Sarah Alabin, of course, from COG every other week. So it does take a lot of time and it takes a while for them to get up to speed. That I don't know if the benefit would necessarily be there. It would be much better to have someone that's local that can stay on for a period of a couple of years at least. That's a good recommendation there.
How about somebody from wildfire recovery? Is there anybody that we're seeing in the long-term recovery team? Anybody up there that you think has the skills?
We're interested in one person, but that person just retired.
I got a very nice no. only because she was retiring.
Yeah, polite no.
2 cents
Dang
that
it.
probably won't go over well with my friends in Mill City, but one thing to think about is, yeah, the salary cost would be the same if the sewer authority hired somebody versus Mill City adding staff. But Mill City does have built-in, you know, HR capabilities and accounting capabilities. They're used to paying staff, right? They've got some of that capacity already there, which might be helpful. So you might find that it's cheaper to add somebody in Mill City than it would be to add somebody at the sewer authority.
I would agree. I would agree.
So
Keep an open mind, Tim.
Oh, I absolutely agree with that as well. I just wanted to make sure that City Hall right now couldn't take it. We would have to add staff and hire somebody else. But whether they work under the city's, I want to say, work in conjunction with the city, yeah, I'm sure we could work something out. Devil's in the details.
And same would be true for COG, right, or Marion County, where whoever the position was located. Yeah,
absolutely.
Brian has his hand up.
Well, so do we have, as I remember this discussion back in January, it was 0.5 FTE, 20 hours a week we were thinking. And okay, so what's the skill set that we're looking at? Do we have a tentative job description to kind of review for us to say, oh, you know, we have a part-time employee, if we just push them to full-time, they would meet that skill set. So that would be helpful for us, not that we're recruiting or anything, but for me to just know, oh, if I were talking to someone and this is what they would need. I mean,
that's what we're putting together right now.
Yeah, and I have a couple of sample ones from other locations. They're obviously much more advanced than the sewer authority is at this point. And so there's the skill set is a little bit different. But I just want to kind of get your feeling on if you want to say partner or if you want to just, to me, that's the question I think maybe today. Do you guys want to partner with either COG or Mill City or another entity to bring staff in? Or do you want to go completely into the sewer authority hiring their own staff from square one? Because to me, that's my point. I have to make that, you have to make that decision so I can move forward for you.
I think we ought to look at seeing what we can do with Mill City, and then if that can't work, then start with COG and because I don't really,
I'll second that sentiment.
What is the position that you're speaking?
Sure, this would be someone to actually manage the sewer authority. And so as my role is changing, you know, I have other projects I have to move on to. And so I want to make sure that you guys have all the staffing that you guys need to make the transition to a fully functioning sewer authority.
we don't need to wait till the last minute. We're starting to look at that right now.
Yep.
Okay, so can I clarify just so my mind's processing correctly?
Sure.
So we are looking at basically a manager that will be working for the NSA that will be housed basically at Mill City and being paid through a contract type situation through Mill City. We're not asking Mill City to increase their staff necessarily, but it put a temporary person in there part-time that eventually is going to move over to the sewer authority. Am I understanding correctly or am I off base?
Yeah,
Nope.
that, I would say you're absolutely right. And I would just say either Mill City or maybe even the COG or one of the other entities, yes.
Thank you.
If that's what you guys want to do, I'm happy to do that and I can start putting things together. Brian has his hand up.
So who supervises? Is this Ken supervising her or, and so proximity would be important. I think that's, to me, that's the question about, do we partner or do we not?
Sure.
Right? It's like, if supervision needs to be proximal, then partnering would be great with Gates, Mill City, Detroit. It could be any one of the city councils that provide office space for the individual, depending on maybe where they live.
So we had something in the sewer, in the original IGA that actually defined out who, if I'm not mistaken, but it's sitting way over there. So I'll have to go back and look at it. It's in our initial ORS 190 agreement, and then there's a subsequent policy pieces that we put together. And so I just have to go double check to see who was supposed to, I believe it was one person was supposed to be identified as the supervisor for any staff. But again, if it becomes a contract, then it's a contracted staff. And then they're managed then contractually through whoever the partner is, and then they report to the board as a whole. Does that make sense?
That's right. The board has ultimate control.
So what I'm hearing, and point me in the right direction, is that you're looking at a partnership. So potentially a contracted part-time staff person for the sewer authority. They would work on behalf of the sewer authority, but they would work technically for another entity, but paid for by the sewer authority. So that would be a contract that would be paid out. Is that the direction I should bring back to you next time?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll start drafting it that direction then.
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm liking that too because of the human resources aspect of it. You know, if we hired somebody half-time, to take care of all their own, you know, payroll schedules and taxation schedules and stuff would eat up a bunch of their time as well. Where if we roll it in with somebody that's already set up to do that, obviously that would take a lot off of their plate, and we wouldn't be paying them to take care of themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chair, if it's okay.
Yep, that's
the way I'm
okay.
going.
Moving forward.
Thank you very much for the direction.
HOAWU conference, Sun River.
Okay, so this is going to happen before our next meeting. Our next meeting is March 7th. That's the first Monday of the month. March 4th, that's a Friday, 10:30-ish is when we're presenting on March 4th. I need to confirm who is going. Tim, you're going to be there?
Friday the 4th, you say?
Yes, Friday the 4th.
If I'm needed there, I'll be there. I couldn't tell you without being at my work calendar too. I don't have that punched in my phone yet. So But yeah, I'd love to go over there Friday the 4th.
I will not be able to make it.
Okay. So let me make sure, I guess, let me get everybody else up to speed. So the Oregon Association of Water Utilities has had us speak. I think this will be the third time for their annual conference. And Keith, help me if I'm saying anything wrong. And so this year they've asked me to speak specifically on the progress on the sewer project, because they've literally been along the way with us on all of this. And so it's kind of sometimes nice to give them a little a good boost up. Once you get money from the legislature, sometimes it's good to have that follow-up conversation. So Keith, you got something?
Is going to be just something to give everybody, a view on how things are going and what, can happen with the help of the community and other entities.
Yeah. So if you can make it, so Tim, I'll expect you then there. I haven't even put together a presentation or anything yet. You know how I like to go. You know how I like to go at the last minute.
That's right. Let's just roll.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I would be glad to support you in that, Danielle. Tim,
Great.
if you get stuck, just let me know and I'll travel over there on the 4th.
Thank you.
I'll be there, Danielle.
Well, good. I'm glad, Keith, that'll be your nice weekend in Sun River, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually have to drive over and drive straight back, so I don't get to stay. Okay.
Danielle,
Yeah.
if the legislature is nice, which they have not been so far, to us, I will be there. However, if we're still in session and I have hot bills, I will not be able to leave.
Gotcha. Okay. So I'm going to assume that I'm putting together a presentation. Tim will definitely be there because he's got some friends over there. Gonna make a nice weekend out of it, right? In Sun River.
That is my intention.
Yes, yes. And then Brian will be able to help us out. Brian, are you confirmed that you feel you could go over there and with us?
It starts at 10 a.m.
Starts at 10 a.m. So that means I'm gonna leave like at the crack of dawn.
I have to consult my better half before
I understand.
confirm or deny.
My better half realizes he has no control over it, that I will be there. Okay,
It's Tim and Danielle for sure, and Brian, Janet, possible.
got it.
Okay.
Okay,
Is the OAWU hosting a hospitality room?
No.
Wait, I was looking for Keith to jump in on that one.
I think that was Wednesday.
So you have to say Wednesday. Yeah, you forget. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we're like the closing. We're like the last day right before lunch. So
I see.
like we're the last faces they're gonna see as they're getting out of there.
Is Jeff going to be there?
Yes. I
Actually,
believe he will.
No, Jeff Cruther.
Yes.
Oh, the other Jeff.
The other Jeff.
Jeff,
Yeah.
you can, Jeff Yowie, if you want to come, you can even hitch a ride with me if you want. So that is up to you. But yeah, Jeff Crowther will be there, so he won't be in his retired mode yet, right? Again?
He's always retired.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I'm expecting. I'll probably put together something the last week of February, maybe.
Oh, just go there.
Probably,
Be
I'm just gonna be
yourself.
honest. It won't happen until the first week of March.
Probably won't happen until that morning you're driving over there.
That's
You're going to pull up your last presentation and use it.
my last one was fun. My last one, I don't think I could actually say in another public meeting. So, but I will tell you that everybody knows that I'm a bad friend. So that's what they learned about me. Okay. Sorry for taking over all that whole work.
That's all right. Anything else? New business? Updating of facts. Think we've already. You got anything else for that, Danielle?
No, not for that one. I've got the FAQs written out here. I'm gonna try to draft up what they look like, and then let's make sure those answers look nice next month.
Financial policies, development and authority.
So this is, we need to start making some plans for creating all of the financial policies and the authority pathway. Right now, we don't have money, so we haven't had to make those decisions, but with the funds that are expected to come from the county has unofficially agreed to put $150,000 to the sewer authority to start making all of these moves to mature the organization. And so I want to make sure as we are moving forward that with that agreement that we have some financial policy development and some authority moving forward. And probably if we could, Mr. Chair, see if there's any volunteers to help us draft those.
And when did you want to start this?
Well, as soon as people are available. I know the legislature is definitely causing a lot of, taking a lot of time, I know, from everybody this session. And this short session should end, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think it's March 7th.
At the latest, yes.
Yeah, March 7th. So if we could get some help either this month or next month, that would be fantastic.
Brian, are you interested?
Well, as a treasurer, I probably should be, but
Mhm.
so, yeah, I guess my question to Danielle is, what other 190 organization is there out there that we can copy from and adjust according to our mission?
I actually think that we have a good one right here. So the Council of Governments is an ORS 190.
Mhm.
And so the local cog, they're going to be a little bit more mature than ours. So, you know, we probably wouldn't have to necessarily have as many steps, but it's a good place to start. And then the Special Districts Association of Oregon should have some additional resources there.
Union Wallowa Railroad is an ORS 190.
I'm sorry, say that one more time, Arthur.
The Union Wallowa Railroad Association is an ORS 190, just in case that's useful.
Thank you.
Yep. Don't ask me why I know that.
Excuse me, I interrupted. Arthur.
I was just saying, don't ask me why I know that. Yeah.
Oh.
I could potentially be available depending on duration.
I was gonna see if Janet was gonna be available.
Yep.
Yep, or no?
Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
So that could potentially could be a subcommittee.
Yeah.
Okay. So then let's get some of the basic documents, and then you guys maybe can start work in March to get that going once the session's all done.
Is that good with you, Janet and Brian?
Brian ran away, so I think he volunteered.
Yeah, you volunteered. Janet, you're gonna be done.
Yeah, and it's the only thing holding me up is going to be during the weekday for possibly that March 4th. So far, I don't have a lot that I am deeply involved in that hasn't taken up an entire Sunday. So my Sundays are the only thing kind of off, and on its own schedule right now.
That's okay.
No, it's not.
Well, we'll see what schedule Brian has and yours and put it together and we'll just make it work.
Don't forget
Thank you.
Tim.
And Tim, yeah.
Thank you. I'll be at your house, Tim. We got this covered.
I was gonna say, thanks, Janet, for reminding them of me.
Yeah.
So I just, the only meetings I have is first Thursday and third Thursday of the month, so.
Okay, we'll put something together and get this going. Next meeting topics.
I can tell you what I heard is we'll talk again about that financial policy development and authority.
Yes.
We will talk about the frequently asked questions, the logo vote, follow up on the history on the website, just to make sure that's clear.
Yes.
Photos of the board members. I need to have, that's the 7th, so that'll be after the other one.
Yeah, if everybody wants to send their photo in, just send it to Danielle and Sarah.
Or if you just send it to the North Santiam Sewer Authority and North Santiam Sewer at gmail.com, it'll get to us.
Bingo. Perfect.
But draft job descriptions.
Thank you. That was what I was trying to think of. Okay. And if I have a very, very successful next couple of weeks, I'm hoping to have the sewer authority agreement with Marion County for that 150,000. So that is my hopefulness there. And did I miss anything, please?
Financial development logos, frequently asked questions, history, photos,
I think you got it.
job descriptions.
Yeah.
And Brian has stand up.
I think maybe Ken and Danielle, I might join you for your meeting with Sarah and talk about treasury and treasury reports going forward from
Great.
this point, what the expectation is and what Joel had been doing. And so we're ready when the financial policies kind of.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So we have a meeting this Thursday, and it's only a Thursday because I am going to be out on Friday.
I won't be in town until
Okay.
next.
So then we'll catch you the next one meeting. Okay. So Ken, if you can make sure I get that onto the schedule with Jen, that would be great.
The following meeting.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else?
Ken, I have
Anybody?
I have a request. This is Denny.
Yeah.
In order to familiarize myself with what's going on in the Detroit area, if anybody is involved in activities around the McCoy Creek site, whether it be, one of the members of the advisory council or a professional that's up there working or reviewing or surveying or whatever they do in that area, I would love to be informed of that so that I could meet with somebody who has the local knowledge in order to see the site and talk about the positive and negatives of implementing such a site. So it doesn't matter when, I'm pretty free. If you become aware of activities in the area, I'd just like to participate.
Okay. I know that the engineer has been trying to get access from the Forest Service. And so if I can find out when they're going to go up there again, I'll let you know. Okay, Denny?
That'd be great. Do you have my phone number?
No, but if we could, I'm going to have Ken follow up with you and get that to me.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Okay.
Making notes. Hold on.
Mr. Chair, I've caused as much trouble as I can this month.
Good job.
Done a very good job of it, Danielle. Thank you.
Good job. Good job. Anything else from anybody? All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. It is 7:34. We have the Robert rule for everybody that doesn't know. We don't follow Robert's rules or order.
It's just a guideline for us.
It's just a guideline for us. If you want the policies that we follow, what we do, there's nothing else going on at 7:35. It's it's 2/7/2022. It's Monday. And if there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
What?
Oh, hold on. I was gonna say one thing. Make sure we know that March and April, as of now, we're still in Zoom. I'm expecting after that, we may shift back to in-person. I just want to make sure that that was clear. And just for the public record, that we will be presenting at the Oregon Association of Water Utilities on March 4th. And then our next meeting is March 7th, 2022 at 6 p.m. via Zoom. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Thank you
Have a
all.
good night.
Night.
Everybody be safe, please.